right now, live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So really putting my multi-social skills to use, isn't it? Right? I was taking like the whole of last year to hone my social media skills as well as set up social media social.school.sg, and here I am actually using it for my own use so that time gets even more efficient. So welcome to part 2 today of be the high vibration woman, part 2, seeking true love in marriage. And I think this is a topic that any woman can, hey Jessie, yeah, can resonate with, whether you are just dating, or you are with somebody already, you are still looking for somebody, or you have just got married, or you are 5-6 years into married. Kids happen, money issues come up, job changes come up, which is exactly where I am right now. And even of course the far future of whether you are 10 or 20 years, wherever you are, as long as you are a woman, you are definitely looking for love. Okay, so I'm here wearing the Chinese New Year outfit to celebrate 新年快乐恭喜发财. Okay, and today, especially for my non-Mandarin friends, today is the third day of Chinese New Year. We celebrate up to 15 days, okay? But I think more so, especially like for myself, Be the High Vibration Woman is a video series that I'm giving away for any woman out there, because I want to really spend time in February talking about what it takes to be a high vibration woman. And high vibration woman, as I talked about in my previous video, part 1, if you haven't, please go and watch it. It's about 40 minutes long, 40, not 14 minutes. And it talks about just a recap about why we want to choose to be high vibration woman. High vibration woman is not just about positive vibes, being happy. Just a moment that you may see my eyes scan from screen to screen, because I'm actually doing like 3 lives right now. I just haven't gotten to do and prepare LinkedIn live, but I will be doing it next week. So there will be like 4 in total. But so back to what is a high vibration woman? Does it mean that she's happy all the time, she doesn't feel pain, she is always like positive? Absolutely not, because every part of us as a woman is our emotions, and is we get to learn how to sit and process, and sometimes more often than not, it can be very painful. But eventually, this is what takes us to be being whole once again, because later on I will share more about why especially for us, we have been brought up in this very masculine structure society. The whole structure of it, the society is masculine. Like once we are the moment we are born, our caregivers are our parents, and whatever that they have been is what we will imprint directly on ourselves. Like whether they are the best of themselves, but whether they are the not so best of themselves, we imprint that directly from 0 to 7 years old. And then of course we go into school, and then so on and so forth. At the end of the day, and then we go out to work. It is all about like hustling, like working more, like take no rest. And the more work we do, the more productive we are. But that is like a masculine game, and that is very different from how we are wired as women. And I think it's not just only right now that is, I think for very, very, very long, like since forever, the feminine side has always been suppressed as like, very emotional, always tough time. You cannot really see like tangible results. Oh, hello. Yeah, howdy, mate. Yeah. Okay, so a side of yourself that you really cannot see tangible results. It's not like the masculine side where there's outwards achievements like status, gold, money, power, high position. So the feminine side, but the truth is that it exists in all of us, like whether the man has both sides and the woman also has both sides. But today's topic is more for the women, and especially if we don't show up in this very whole being way, if we show up just trying, to fight with our husband, and using our ego to pit with his ego, we will only end up in fights endlessly. Okay, endlessly. And the more that we actually tap, and I have actually discovered it as well, as the more we actually tap into our feminine side, learning to slow down, learning to take rest, is actually doing our relationship so much more good. So the moment that, especially for a lot of women, that we go into marriage or we go into relationship thinking that the other partner would fulfill us, right? We think that, he can take us out for dates, he can make us happy, when we are actually in charge of our own happiness. Okay, a man would not be drawn to a woman who needs him to validate her self-worth, who needs him to always bring her out, take her out. If not, she's unhappy, she becomes this emotional wreck. They are not having fun at all. They want to be around a woman who is at peace with herself, is at ease with herself, enjoys, her alone time. She has her own creative pursuits, her own spiritual passion. She has goals other than him. That's so stressful, right? Isn't it, for the guy to always be the goal of her life? But that's what a lot of women, that they become so externally validated on the outside, that they channel all their energy to making their partner happy. In turn, they make themselves very unhappy. And there has been a generational pattern that was brought forward, not only from our mothers, but our grandmothers, great grandmothers, so on, that the woman is there to make the man happy only at the expense of herself. She has kids, she sacrifices herself for the family. Okay, she puts her life on hold until 30 years later. By then, she has lost her health, she lost her youth, she lost her energy, she lost her passion for life, because she's 30 years too late. And then she's like, okay, what should I do with my life? But you have already lost 30 years of the good years, of the good energetic years, where you could have grown yourself, you could have learned, you could have pursued your own passion, you could have brought yourself up to another level. And that's how the relationship elevates. Okay, but I must say that it's definitely not easy, because you're going to face triggers not only from your partner, you're going to face triggers from within yourself as well. But it's overcoming these triggers one by one that we get better and better, and eventually we become even more whole. And the best way for marriage to really feel the love is not for them to be interdependent. It's not for like, the husband to always be waiting for the wife to do things for him, or the wife to always wait for the husband to bring her out. But they are both complete individuals on their own, because each of them have their own journey to grow. Okay, it is just a gist, but I already said so much. Yeah, so really, about being a high vibration woman, it's not easy. It's really, really not easy, because we are dealing with a lot of patterns from our past, from what we saw our moms, our grandmothers modeling for them. So it's a lot of like inherent wounds from within. But what I discovered is that we don't just look at the wounds as wounds. We don't just say that, oh, because my parents were like that, so I have to be like that. We get to choose to have the power to rewrite our story. And that is how empowering it can be. We get to choose how, hey girl, okay, we get to choose how powerful our story can be, based on how well we are ready to sit with the wound, to heal from it. That's where it becomes a gift, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. Okay, and people around us, I really mentioned about children. Okay, so seeking true love in marriage, as first, number one, is that for the woman, definitely, it's not true love isn't found by chasing harder. It is found when hi shifu, okay, it's found when the woman becomes whole in the sense that she meets her shadow part, she meets her negative traits, her anger, her rage, her jealousy, that she has been suppressing when she was young, because mommy and daddy said that you have to be a good girl and not give trouble. You don't give trouble by causing a scene. Why are you so emotional? Why are you crying? Right? When we thought that way, that we have to be like a guy and keep it cool. But even boys, they also have emotions as well. But in our previous, when we were young, we weren't taught to be able to deal with emotions well. And that's when 30 years later, we get married, we find a partner, when we have children, all of these wounds come up again. Not as a trauma, but for us to heal what we did not heal in the past. And then when a woman is able, okay, to face her past, okay, to rewrite her story, it becomes very empowering. Okay, it becomes very empowering. And I can say from my own experience, it takes a lot of courage, it's a lot of pain, but it's a journey worth taking. And this is how you elevate your vibrational energy from just like being needy or chasing or like always needing the man to validate you. Like sometimes you find yourself overperforming, okay, because because you're trying to make somebody else happy. You're trying to make somebody else happy. You're trying to seek approval from your parents-in-law, trying to seek approval from your husband, trying to also seek approval from your partner who hasn't been your husband yet, because you want to be seen like as worthy. So a lot of women, they end up getting stuck in cycles of hustling jobs because they are actually not hustling for money, they are hustling for worth. Okay, they are not hustling for money, they are hustling for worth. So because of that, they try to prove themselves, they try to outprove themselves from their male counterparts. They get jealous when, they have to, give birth to kids, and they have to waste 2 years or 3 years of their time having kid number one, and then another 2 years waiting kid number two, while they seen their male counterparts rise up the ranks so easily and so effortlessly, like as though nothing had happened to them. Okay, because the rules of the game for the men and for the women is totally different. We cannot enter the men's arena playing that game. We will definitely lose. We will have to play the games in our way. And what is the games in our way is something that the men do not have, which is we are talking about intuition. We are talking about getting into the body. We are talking about learning to rest. We are talking about learning just to be and having that worthiness from proving to being, just by being who you are, and that whatever that you have is exactly enough. You do not need more dresses to look good. You do not need more makeup. You do not need more money. You do not need a better job. You do not need more achievements. You are just you as it is, and that is good enough. When a woman is able to embrace that part of herself, to really treasure herself and see herself as worthy, she elevates and raises the expectations and standards about what other people treat her. Because how you treat other people is how you want other people to treat you. Okay, you model to that first. Especially for women, like if we are so used to over giving, we are so used to over pampering other people, condoling other people, and even letting other people step into our boundaries in the name of being a good wife, a good daughter, a good mother, letting our children step over us, we are just creating chaos for the future. And not only it will eat up into our soul bit by bit, until one day we have given everybody our broken parts of ourselves. The job comes in when you have to take piece by piece from every single person: your husband, your parents, your job, your children, the society, money, status that last in the past, that you require a lot of validation. That moment where you start taking the pieces back to yourself and making that yours, that's when your worthiness will get to increase and shoot up once again. And when a man sees that, whatever stage he is, he may be married to you for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, even, when the tiredness of having kids, real life finances kick in, jobs come in, job crisis, having to keep paying, and that is really a financial burden, especially in expensive Singapore. They feel so at ease being around a woman who is just so at ease with herself and so confident, and that itself is deeply attractive and magnetic, because it is exactly rare. It is exactly rare because most women, we feel naked, I would say, if we don't have that great job, if we don't have that great money, if we don't have that great um uh uh whatever way that we actually need validation from. It can be like, I am, and some women especially, the hustling doesn't stop even if it's in a corporate place. They bring that hustling back to work, back to home, and they end up pushing the performance metrics onto the kids. Like the kids need to have a certain KPI to show that I am doing my job. That is just the same thing. It's hustling at home and hustling at work. It makes no difference. But when a woman is able to distinct herself and to say that, hey, I am channeling all my energy for my kids because purely I love them, I have no validation, and there is really true honesty, brutal honesty with herself, the kids can feel it. The kids can feel that there is no pressure at all to perform, that they are able to do what they want to do, and they get to really enjoy learning the process because it's with their favorite mommy who is making the journey so enjoyable, not by making it more pressurizing. Because the pressure adds up for them and they feel it. And if they feel it, they're not going to enjoy it. And I can honestly say that for myself, I have also healed that a lot because in the past, I wouldn't say right now, especially they are studying, one of them is studying, but I would say very much in the earlier years that I would somehow have this competitive thing like, okay, is he reading enough books? What other books do I need to find? Like I will actually go to forums and check out like book lists or go to Carousel and buy more books, but it was completely unnecessary. It was actually hustling as a mom. I was bringing that hustling from the sales world back to the mom's world. What difference does it make? And it made the whole, like, even during it was just a short interim of what, like 1 year plus that I was in that mode before I realized that I couldn't continue that way. That was how I actually stepped into coaching and I discovered a whole different way. I was like, oh, 原来 I was actually trying to seek validation. I was trying to seek external validation by, if he does this certain metrics, it means that I have achieved. And if he doesn't, I feel like shit like myself. I was putting that kind of unfair judgment not only for myself but also for him. Okay, thank goodness he was very young, he didn't feel it. But they will in due time as they grow older. What the kids remember is really only, hi Raisin, what the kids really only remember is the joy, is the freedom, is the happiness that they receive from a true mother when she is enjoying with herself with them, and of course when she's enjoying herself with her husband. Okay, so the more that we actually are able to uncover all these generational wounds from the past, from our mothers, our grandmother, doesn't mean our mother hustled means that we have to, doesn't mean our mom was slaves at home while we were children, doesn't mean I have to, because doesn't mean that she kept quiet in the face of having her boundaries stepped over by her husband means that I have to as well. We get to make that choice right now in a completely new generation, very consciously, very aware about, and especially about all these things about mental health and so on. But it is about setting what was not right for us, setting what was not right for them right for us. We cannot undo the story that they had, but we can learn and we can identify and learn so that we don't bring that same pattern forward towards our sons and our daughters. Our daughters will not repeat the same mood of where mommy always sees daddy as like the superior being. She's always like the second class citizen. She always has to bow down to money. She has to bow down to his dominance. And mommy also, and whereas the sons, what they will see is, oh, so this is how a woman wants to be treated in a relationship. And then they go seeking for the wrong type of partner. It's creating that kind of impact forward, especially for us, when we have children. That is the difference. When we actually choose to make things different, we choose self-respect over validation. We stop abandoning ourselves. We start speaking up for ourselves. We start to say that, hey, I didn't like that tone when you speak to me, it should be better. We start identifying really, and maybe your partner doesn't realize, he doesn't know that, he doesn't, and it was something that subconscious, he just thought that it was completely he thought that it was okay, but it's not okay, because people don't realize until you point it out to them. So it doesn't do anybody good when we just keep quiet. We try to shrink ourselves. We overgive. There's three things of all, which I wrote down in my stories, is overgive. Overgive because to be a good woman, to be a good mother, to be a good daughter, we have to overgive. That is the KPI for women, right? You're only seen like if you actually overgive because that's what their mother gave, right? They overgive themselves. They always put themselves as the last and put everybody else on the pedestal. the overgiving mother, the one who always never says no, say yes to everybody, trying to make everybody happy, the people pleaser, so that she can maintain the harmony in the house, so that nobody is angry, so that there is no conflicts, because that is the idea of a happy family, isn't it? Or we can also see the other mother who wants to do everything for everybody, but she doesn't fulfill herself on the inside. She doesn't deal with her emotions well, and she brings forward that kind of resentment to the children, that the children always feels like, hey, maybe she didn't really enjoy her mothering journey very well. And the kids, when they grow up, they'll be like, yeah, maybe having kids is not a very good idea at all. So it's not about whether you're having kids or not. It's about how all these patterns are imprinted generation one after another. And we get to be that generation that choose, because it's finally waking up that we are conscious women and conscious men. And what I'm very heartened about is that I get to witness a lot of very great dads, men who are also watching my content, stories or whatsoever. A lot of them actually also have wives and daughters, and they really resonate with my content. They say like, yeah, like I may be a guy, but I completely resonate with how you are standing up for women. And I said, yes, exactly. Like I'm a woman standing up for women. Okay. So don't stop abandoning yourself. Stop waiting until when the kids grow up. Stop waiting until your husband wakes up to his idea. Start treating yourself right. How do you want other people? Yes, thank you. Okay, start treating yourself right. Hi, Intuition Lab. Yeah, I've been seeing you on my stories as well. Okay, start treating yourself right, like right now. Stop waiting. I had this waiting game as well with my partner, and he also, and I decided, like, I always wanted to, have great dates, or I mean, it's my women's side, right? Like, I mean, that's why I'm with you. Hi. Hey, hi. Yeah, that's why I'm like with you, right? Okay. And I wanted always like to just be cherished, valued, seen, appreciated. And I get it a lot from my sons, which also make the work at home very, very fulfilling. I also put them at my handle. Like right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I have multi businesses. Like I have my social media, which I haven't gone to back, but I'm also starting like a high vibration women's group in coming up in March, as well as courses. So I will actually commence with that. And um I was like, I was grumpy. I was like, I really wish for alone time. I want to go out. I wanted to go for a solo trip. And I find that tinge of jealousy when I hear from friends who say that they take solo girls trip. When I try to bring that up with my partner, he's like, no, now it's not the right time, the kids are young, blah blah blah. And then I was so resentful until I came to one time when I was just listening to some videos. I don't know how and why, but it was just like a hit me like a pang. I said that I should just stop waiting. So what are the things that I started first? Like, okay, maybe it's a long shot right now to like book a ticket to Bali on my own, right? It's gonna be a shock to everybody, but I can start taking myself out. So I started like on top of just so I have one day a week where because I actually take care of my kid like after he finishes school. So one of the things that I used to do, would be to like just be at home all the time, or just doing my work non-stop. I decided to allocate a day where I just go out. I really just go out by myself. Like I dress up to the nines, I put on my makeup, and after I went out one week, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it the next week. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it the next week. It was so enjoyable. Okay, it's so enjoyable. So the notion of like, okay, we have to wait until the kids grow up, until 20 years later, or like, and then we lose all this time, we lose all the energy, we lose all the vigor in life. And then afterwards, when you're in your 50s, you'll be like, okay, where did all my time go to? Okay, you actually spend 20 to 30 years just slaving for other people. That is your norm. But that's not going to be my norm. That's not going to be my norm. So I decided that I should stop waiting, and I was so glad I stopped waiting. I was so enjoyable. I started having so much more creative juice, feeling so rejuvenated. Even after I need to take care of my kids after school. Take care of my kid after school, but I felt so much more alive. Like my soul was so much more alive, because I started connecting with hobbies that I had before I had kids. Okay, so I had before I had kids, and I think a very common trait for mothers is that we get so caught up in the overgiving, overperforming, and what is it? Overgiving, over explaining to people that We lose ourselves, we lose touch of who we are before we got married, before we had children. We had our own soul, we had our own drive, our own ambitions, our own goals. Where did that go to? Where did that go to? Okay. So the moment that we start choosing ourselves, we stop waiting. Okay. We sign that permission slip to ourselves and say, I'm going out right now. Okay. I stop waiting for anybody to treat me right. I start treating myself right. Everything will start to hit like a impact. Everything will start to unveil itself. That the wrong things will start surfacing out, and like, hey, like, this is not how I want to be spoken to. And it's not just towards your partner, it's also within your children. The dynamics between, one child to another. Hey, you cannot speak to that so rudely. And like, you start realizing and you start seeing what's the wrong, where in the past you were just blinded, because you start elevating these standards of boundaries. And for myself, like, I think for the past uh couple of weeks, boundaries was something that came up repeatedly. It was something that I not only had to teach one son but the other as well, in their own formats. Like the younger one was experiencing boundaries issue where he was too assertive, and the older one wasn't sure, like, okay, what, is it an accidental push or is it an intentional push, like, um all boundaries. And then I started looking at myself, like, how am I not exhibiting that boundary and setting the boundaries right in the family, like towards my son, okay, son one, son two, and also towards my husband. And then when we actually start elevating the standards that we expect to receive from people, that is how you start calling out for what you truly deserve in a marriage. I don't know how many women actually, and I won't be surprised that they just go through the motion. They just go through the motion of, like, wake up, provide for kids, go to work, go home, and you actually get lost in it. Your soul gets lost in the humdrum of life. That 10 years later, 20 years later, you are like, where did my youth go to? And then that's when a lot of women, they end up like divorcing when their kids grow up. But the pain that they divorce, whether at 50 or even when the kids are young, it is still the same. Okay, the pain for the child is still the same. But what is lost? A lot of the woman's time, a lot of the energy that she could have gone to be doing something better, and better yet, more time to exhibit the right type of modeling for the kids, for mommy to actually, for them to see that mommy chooses happiness, mommy chooses to take care of herself, mommy actually chooses to leave somebody that wasn't treating her right, mommy chooses her self-dignity, her self-respect over mistreatment in the relationship. So it's about raising the standards, like whether your husband is not doing enough in a certain way, like maybe he's not stepping up in finances, or maybe he is paying for the finances, but he's physically not around. He always goes out drinking, entertainment, he makes up excuses not to be here, or maybe he is also not emotionally present with you, like when you actually bring up about the parts that you actually are unhappy about, that you feel neglected, or like you want more, not affirmation, but you want to talk about how a certain tone is not making you feel good. It gets dismissed, it gets boomerang back at you as a trigger, or it gets, you did this so I did that, that kind of. So whether is it emotional, mental, or physical, I do know that all of us, especially for women, we all deserve the best. We all deserve to have it across all segments. And any man who tells you that, no, I only can do it one area but I cannot do the other, okay, it's just making things easy for him. Okay, and it is your choice to decide whether you want to give him the easy way out. A man who actually always gets the easy way out is not going to be the right fit for you. It's not going to be the right fit for you. Like someone who gets the easy way out in terms of the not being pointed out right, that he's actually not speaking well to you, and he's not correcting that. Either that or you are not correcting that. Maybe you think that if I just keep quiet, it will make things easier, or if I just keep quiet, but it will just eat up your passion, your soul, until the relationship dries up, because it's a resentment for the woman. It's a resentment for the woman. We all feel it. Okay. And then that's when one day the man, like 10 years later, and then he's like, how come she's so angry with me? Because but for so many years the woman never spoke up. Okay, so if there is a jarring issue in your relationship, you deserve the best. Okay, true love, I feel that is across all segments: emotional, physical, mental. Yeah, physical in the sense of like being present to help you, providing finances, making sure that you're well taken care of. Emotional in the sense that they, like what I said, that they are emotionally present, they hear your pain, they strive to make you feel better, they strive to make you feel seen in the relationship, that your emotions are well taken care of. And mental in the sense that they are there is always, like, that mental stimulation and conversation between partners. So we don't try to let him off the hook, because you're not doing yourself a service, and much less for him, because a man, we all grow in marriage, we all grow in relationship. Marriage is not one that is seen with flowers and happily ever after. It is one that has soul growth. And when the woman rises, it's always the woman that rises first, because we are a lot more spiritual aware. We are a lot more in tune with the growth side. Okay, men are more fixed, so it's a bit harder for them, for most of them. Okay, so when the woman rises up, the man is actually challenged to step up. And men actually enjoy that challenge. But when you deny them of that challenge, because either number one, you think that he cannot make it, number two, you think that you're going to make his life more difficult. So you end up coddling him, you end up babying him, you end up ridding him of responsibilities. Okay. When you are in your old age, you will realize that there is nobody to help you. Okay, and that's not what I want for my relationship. I want my partner to be responsible, to take care of me from the beginning to the end. It's not my son's job. It's not my son's job to take care of me. It's my husband, because they are not interchangeable. Okay, and I know that that's actually something that a lot of women, especially when they face problems with their husbands, they will unconsciously push the responsibility of taking care to the children. The sons may be, yes, I love mommy so much, I want to step up. But it's a burden too big for the sons to uptake, because the responsibility of taking care is the husband. And if the woman allows that to happen, number one, is going to make the husband's the sons who grow up to be a husband next time have even more burden, because they not only have to take care of their family, they have to take care of their mother, who's not taken care of their husband, by their father. Okay, and the woman will realize that the son never grows up. The son never grows up. That even after they get married, they will still have to be like mentoring the kid as though like he's still 18 years old. That's not what I want. You get married, you sort out your own shit with your partner. I'm gonna live my life. That's exactly what I want. Okay, I pass on the responsibility. Whatever issues that you face, you deal with her, and that's it. Like, don't come to me to be mentored, or for me to coach you as though you are like a 14-year-old kid not able to grow up, even though you are 34. So when a woman actually ends up coddling her husband, she coddle her sons, okay, or she coddle her daughters, she will end up, being the one that is burdened until the end. You'll realize that she was the overgiver. And precisely in her position that she was the overgiver, she was not able to experience the true love that a woman deserves in a marriage. She denied herself of the physical to be taken care of by the partner. She denied herself. She denied herself of the emotional welfare. She also denied herself of the mental stimulation, because she was always, not focusing on growth. She was and that for me, I feel it keeps the relationship very stagnant. When the woman is stagnant, the man will also be stagnant. Things get bored, and then things happen. Okay, so back to which, the high vibration woman is somebody who, number one, chooses self-respect over validation, and number two, always going for the highest standards. It may sound scary because people are going to be unhappy, people are going to be triggered, but whenever we set boundaries and whenever we teach people what is right and wrong, people are going to be unhappy one way or another. Nobody like to be told that they are wrong. People like to be living in this like illusion that things that are correct until reality hits them. And then they realized that I wrote a quote today, like, I rather, like, for myself, I rather choose to live in a painful truth because it's truth to me than a comfortable lie. But many of us right now, we rather be living in a comfortable lie. Okay, we rather just we know that there's something wrong with the relationship, but we don't want to fix it. We are just going the status quo. Okay, until shit hits the fence. But by then, too little, too late. Okay, too little, too late. So these are the two things that I added up on top of last week. I think I mentioned about she chooses self-love over self-sacrifice. And there was one more I can't remember. But today's one about seeking true love is two things: self-respect over validation. Okay, stop abandoning yourself, start prioritizing yourself first, even when the world shames you that you're selfish, that a mother isn't supposed to be thinking about herself. She's supposed to be slaving. She's supposed to be putting everybody on a pedestal because that's what my mom did. That's what my grandmother did. And I'm like, yeah, that's her choice. Like, that's her choice. Okay, that's not my choice. Okay, and always raising the standards. Always raising the standards before raising expectations. And she treats herself well first before others can come in. I think the worst, especially for a lot of women, is that they don't know how to deal with the change. They do, which is exactly what my courses will be about next month, and which include coaching as well. Is that they just jump directly into, like, hey, I expect you to do this, I expect you to do that. No, everything starts from your internal change, and there is a system to do that. There's a sequence to do that. Okay, and like, they, when trigger bombs throw back at them, they don't have that emotional resilience or that protection to know how to deal with it. Or like when people, say no to them, they take it personally and they're like, oh no. But you will be surprised that even though the whole point of you asking requests from people, it is not for them specifically to send it to you. It is for God to send. Okay, it's for God to send to you. So sometimes you may be asking your husband for money, and he's still a human. Maybe he doesn't want for whatever reason. He lets his resentment of the past blind him. Or maybe you are asking for money from your dad, but he doesn't want to, again, because of his lack of his scarcity mindset. It is not about them providing. The fact that you dare to request and be detached from the result is you daring to ask from the universe. And the universe will send you in whatever way. But of course, you got to open your ways of receiving. Okay? So I think that is it for today. Seeking true love in marriage. It is not about, finding the perfect partner. It is about embracing our feminine side, being whole, healing our wounds, healing our patterns, being very conscious about the way we teach our next generation, and then choosing self-respect over validation, and raising your own internal standards. Start treating yourself like a queen first before other people will be able to do that for you. Okay, and I think that is the end for today. Highly inspiring, and thank you for joining me. I'll see you for the last session coming up next week. Okay, and yeah, watch out for. I'm happy if you actually hear this on replay. You're free to DM me any feedback, any comments, that I'll love to hear from you, especially after this speech on seeking true love in marriage. Bye bye.